Why does my kettle need an internet connection? Why does my toaster need a firmware update? Why are my shoes trying to kill me? And what the heck is Home Assistant? Welcome to Foxy's Lab. I'm Foxy, and in this series, I'll explain complex smart home, IoT, and home lab concepts in a way that makes sense. In this episode, we're exploring Home Assistant, the software that glues your entire smart home together and makes it, smart. So, go grab a coffee, I'll get one too, and then we'll get into it. Home Assistant is an open source smart home platform that lives entirely on your own hardware. It can run on a Raspberry Pi, a mini PC, or a full-fat server, and acts as the interface for all of your connected gadgets. Lights, switches, sensors, thermostats, even that Wi-Fi enabled mug you got from your nana at Christmas. Think of it as the universal translator for your devices. One dashboard, one set of automations, one login, no cloud dependency, no subscriptions, no corporate nonsense, everything local, everything offline, everything yours to control. Here's a quick history. Home Assistant started in 2013. It was created by Paulus Schultzen, and I'm truly sorry for butchering your name if you're watching, Paulus. Mr. Schultzen, sir.
We're not worthy!
Paulus was a developer who just wanted his lights to turn on without being locked into proprietary ecosystems or relying on cloud services that could disappear overnight. So he built Home Assistant, and he open sourced the code. A community quickly formed, and it's just kept growing ever since. It started as a Python application with a handful of YAML files and is now one of the largest open source projects on GitHub. These days, it's backed by Nabu Casa, a company Paulus founded to fund ongoing development and host optional cloud features. So it's still free, still open, and still the backbone of thousands of serious smart home setups. Home Assistant sits at the very centre of your smart home. It connects to your devices through integrations. You can think of integrations like negotiators at a peace talk.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
They teach Home Assistant how to speak to all of your random gadgets that would otherwise refuse to talk to one another. Once something's connected, Home Assistant creates entities such as lights, sensors, switches, people, whatever. You can group them into areas, build dashboards, and then set up automations that respond to triggers like motion, time, or even the weather.
I don't even know how I'm standing up.
So you could use Zigbee2MQTT for sensors or Node-RED for complex logic. We've covered both in previous What the Heck episodes, but Home Assistant is where all of it comes together. And yeah, you don't need either of those things to get started. Home Assistant can handle a lot on its own. Alright, let's break down some key Home Assistant terms. An integration is a connection between Home Assistant and another system or service. There are thousands, from Aqara to ZemiSmart. Most smart devices will likely have an integration available somewhere, either officially or as a community plugin. If you're feeling saucy, you could even write one yourself. It's just an API after all. A device is just a physical piece of hardware, like a switch, sensor, or smart plug. Simple as that. An entity is a specific controllable attribute of a device. For example, a thermostat device might expose 3 entities: temperature, mode, and humidity. Each one can be read and controlled by Home Assistant. An area is simply a way to group entities by location, usually. Generally, it's the room of a house, such as a living room, kitchen, office. I don't need to explain to you how rooms work, right? Right? Areas are useful for organisation, but they also massively help if you connect Home Assistant to a voice assistant, like Alexa, Siri, or even Google Home if you're a maniac, because then you can do something like turn on the living room lights. An automation is a set of rules that say, when this happens, do that. It can be built visually or written in YAML if you're a Home Assistant purist. A scene is a saved state of one or more devices. It's perfect for things like movie night or panic mode. Personally, I dislike this term as I feel like it's confusingly named, but sadly I'm not in charge of these things. Yet. The dashboard, or occasionally referred to as Lovelace, is your main control interface. You can customise the interface to look however you like. You can use cards, graphs and widgets. You can even download themes. Paul Hibbert, another smart home YouTuber, has his looking like the LCARS display from Star Trek, and it looks awesome. An add-on is extra software that runs alongside Home Assistant. Things like backup tools, file editors, or even MQTT brokers like Mosquito. We'll cover add-ons a bit more later, as they're a special case and you may not be able to use them depending on what version of Home Assistant you're running. The supervisor is the management layer that sits on top of Home Assistant OS. It handles system updates, manages add-ons, creates backups, and generally keeps everything running smoothly. Think of it like the operations manager. You won't interact with it directly much, but it's doing a lot of heavy lifting behind the scenes. Only Home Assistant OS includes the supervisor. The container and core versions don't have it, but again, we'll cover that later. Home Assistant's strength is in control. It's local, private, and ridiculously customizable. If you can imagine it, you can probably build it.
I use my imagination!
Motion triggered lights? Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I'm proud of you, son.
Thanks, Dad. Temperature-based heating control, done. An automation that texts you when your partner leaves work. So you know when to start dinner, get your mind out of the gutter. Sure thing, though maybe test that one carefully. I had a similar automation once and it didn't work quite as well as I'd hoped and didn't update their location. I got the notification that they'd left work 10 minutes before they walked through the front door. The best part is, it's designed to work with multiple brands, so you no longer need a Philips Hue app and an Aqara app and an app for your smart kettle. Why do you have a smart kettle? It's all just nicely contained under one single app that does it all. Home Assistant isn't just vanilla, it comes in many flavours. I'll cover this quickly because this can trip people up. All versions are still Home Assistant, just with different wrappers. It's really about how consumer you want it to feel. If you want plug and play, go Home Assistant OS, also known as HasOS. Flash it, boot it, done. You get the supervisor, the add-on store, one-click updates. It behaves like a proper product and is way less DIY than the other version. If you already live in Docker or run Unread, run Home Assistant Container. Home Assistant is one container, your MQTT broker, Zigbee2MQTT and various other things, they all sit next to it as other containers. You wire them up however you like. This version is pretty brass tacks. You don't have a supervisor, there's no add-on store. If you're comfortable managing your own Docker containers, or you want to have individual control over the containers, then this is the version for you. It's also the one I use. Nabu Casa have also started offering purpose-built hardware for HasOS. These come in a few flavours. Yellow is built for OS. If you lick it, it tastes like lemons. Don't lick it. This one is for tinkerers and isn't recommended for newbies as it doesn't come with a compute module and is very much batteries not included. Nabu Casa recently announced that this version is going to be discontinued and it'll likely be difficult to purchase by the time this video goes out. Green is the tiny ready-to-run box which also runs HasOS. This has everything you need to get started and is perfect for beginners. This one is apple flavour. It has Zigbee and Matter support out of the box if you buy it with the Home Assistant Connect dongle. They also used to have a blue flavour which was discontinued because everybody thought it tasted awful. You don't need one of their devices to run it though. They're just there to make it easier for those who want an off-the-shelf solution. A Raspberry Pi or a little mini PC works brilliantly too. In fact, as much as I love Nabu Casa, I'd actually recommend that you don't buy their hardware. I'll talk more about that in the gotchas. If you want to support Nabu Casa, they have an optional subscription which gives you remote access, voice assistant support, as well as a few other bells and whistles, but it's mostly just a great way to show your love to the team. And at only £65 a year, I'd say it was a bargain. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, so let's sink deeply into the mire that is the gotchas. The learning curve can be steep, especially if you dive into manual configuration before you're ready. Home Assistant today is leaps and bounds ahead of where it was just 18 months ago, but a few things still do require manual configuration using YAML files, which can get messy if you don't know what you're doing. And even though it's getting close to being a consumer-friendly product, it's still not quite there yet and really should only be used by those who are willing to get their hands dirty and learn the ropes. This is why I don't recommend buying the Nabu Casa hardware. Home Assistant Green is pretty much ready to go out the box, but you're still going to have to learn a lot to really get the most out of it. And I think that you'd learn more by building your own device from scratch. If the hardware offered any real benefit, or if they made a version with all of the antennas included as part of the package, then I might change my tune on that, but as of right now, I'd recommend getting a Raspberry Pi instead. The prices are similar for both devices, and I think the learning factor makes the Pi a better proposition. Updates sometimes break integrations, and not every brand plays nicely with local control. In fact, some don't even allow for local control at all. There are often workarounds, but you should check the Home Assistant website to see if the integrations page lists your device as being cloud only. If it is, then maybe don't buy it. Otherwise, you're losing some of the local-only magic, and you are risking the vendor just deciding to turn their servers off one day, or replacing their cloud-based hub and forcing you to buy a new one for no reason if you want to keep things working. Philips Hue.
It's a nasty coffee right there.
Not everything has an official integration. Sometimes you'll have no ability to add a device to Has, which is always disappointing.
That's a bummer. Okay.
The community has a store where non-official integrations live, known as Hacks, Home Assistant Community Store, but it can require installing via a command line, and the integrations here are not official. They can be unstable and they can even carry an element of risk, so I would advise against using Hacks until you're comfortable using Home Assistant. It is a great resource though, so when you get used to it, I highly recommend it. Rule 1, name things properly. Window sensor is fine until you have 20 of them. Give them sensible names and group things properly. It doesn't take long for chaos to reign supreme if you're not mindful about organising from the start. Rule 2, use areas. Group devices by area and have one area for every logical section of your house. If you live in an open plan home and you have rooms pulling double duty, like if your kitchen and living room are just one big room, split the room up into logical areas. It will make your life a lot easier, trust me. Rule 3, automate in small steps. Build, test, and then expand. Don't try to automate everything all at once, you will get overwhelmed. Doing it all at the same time makes troubleshooting a nightmare. Rule 4, don't over-engineer. If your house feels like it's gaslighting you, you've probably gone too far. A trap many new smart home users fall into is that they think they've made their living room light smart, but now they have to wait 3 seconds for the motion sensor to turn their lights on, or they'll turn off in the middle of watching a film. Automation should make things seamlessly better and easier. If you'll notice they're there at all, you failed. In my Node-RED video, I mentioned the concept of KISS, keep it stupidly simple. This applies here too. Having to get your phone out to turn a light on is a dumber home, not a smarter one. You've not automated anything, you just made it worse. Rule 5, keep it local. The cloud is optional, not required. Treat it that way. Avoid manufacturers that refuse local-only control like the plague. The only reason they do this is to line their own pockets, and if you require access to their servers to turn your lights on, you're almost certainly going to experience a rug pull one day when they no longer decide that supporting those devices is cost effective. In fact, here's a promise right now from me to you. I'll only ever show you a smart home product that has no local control if there is a really solid reason that makes it worthwhile, and I'll tell you right away if it's cloud only. If a device relies on the company's own server to work, it had better offer a real benefit to the user, and they should be upfront about it, so at least I'll make sure that I am. Oh, this is empty now. In my setup, Home Assistant is the pretty UI and the communications hub. It's where all of my devices are added, which makes them available for use in automations. To be completely honest here, I don't use Home Assistant for automations, as I've always preferred Node-RED for that. I find the node-based interface to be much easier to manage than the form-based way that Home Assistant has it implemented. I also use the Home Assistant native apps for my Mac and iPhone, as they not only provide local sensor data for those devices, but they also allow me to send instant notifications to them, which is incredibly useful. I have an automation that uses sensor data from the Home Assistant app on my Mac, which detects if my microphone is open and tells Node-RED to run some automations. These automations then set my status to busy in Slack, and even cooler, it changes a display on a small USB-powered monitor in the hallway to tell my housemate not to disturb me. It's so cool and I love it. So that's Home Assistant, the open source control hub that makes all of your smart gadgets behave like they're on the same team. It is powerful, endlessly flexible, and hyper addictive. Once you've gotten past the learning curve, you'll never want to use anything else. It is a bit nerdy, but it's a huge step up from Alexa or HomeKit, and I think it's fantastic. If this video informed you, or at least entertained you, give me a like and maybe consider subscribing to me. This What the Heck video is part of an ongoing series, so hit the bell if you want to know when the next one drops. And now you know all about Home Assistant. The next time your kettle gets ideas above its station, you'll know what to do about it. I can't help you with the shoes though. Shoes are just evil. Ta-ra!